Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews, and this is my slightly belated review for Star Trek Starfleet Academy Episode 5.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy. Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
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 Don't make me destroy you.
So this episode focuses on the hologram Sam. She's called Sam, it's short for Series Acclamation Mill.
What an odd thing to say.
And she is from a planet of sentient holograms, and she's been sent to Starfleet Academy basically to study humans and to ascertain, whether they're trustworthy enough for her species to integrate with the Federation. So she's gathering information, she's studying who they are, what they do. And if she's doing that with these people in this series, then if I was the hologram society, I wouldn't bother integrating with the Federation at all.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
But there's some interesting quirks here that, we've had it in the past of a number of Star Trek shows where there's been something studying humans and seeing how they behave and, ascertaining a threat or anything, a justification to engage with human beings. So there is this honest sort of Star Trek kind of feel here within this episode. Again, it's just the execution. The execution here is wildly ridiculous. It's so forced. It's borderline painful. And what I mean by forced, there's not necessarily anything particularly wrong, again, here with some of the acting choices. I think it's just the presentation. There's so much flashiness and shit on screen in the early portions of this episode that it's like, just, I know what you're saying, just have trust in what you're saying. You don't need to have bubbles and glitter and lens flare and this fucking shit. We're still doing lens flare? My word, fucking hell. It's interesting enough in the sense that she tells us that she is the emissary of her people, so we know exactly what we're getting with this episode straight away. We're going to aim towards, Benjamin Sisko, his disappearance, and thankfully this episode doesn't undermine anything of Benjamin Sisko and his past. I'd say we don't really scratch much beyond the surface of who Benjamin Sisko was from Deep Space Nine, but the appreciation is there, and I feel like they leave his legacy intact just about, even though we don't see his face, because maybe Avery Brooks was like, I'm too busy making jazz, I'm not interested in your shit. which is fair enough. But the early portions of the episode, she's explaining what she's here for. She speaks to her own makers, as they were. They come to her and say, you must enroll in this course. You must specifically go here. And she attends, and this is where she's introduced to somebody who later on, spoiler alert, is revealed to be Dax.
Alrighty then.
So Sam takes it upon herself to uncover the mystery of Benjamin Sisko and the emissary, and she sort of says to herself, well, she's never met any other emissary before, even though she says an emissary is a form of diplomat. So, okay. And she takes it upon herself, like I said, to try and decipher what happened to him. She gathers all the other students, and there's a brief sequence where they go back and forth of, what happened to him, and should we just not say that he's missing in action and be done with it? She then moves on from there and bulldozes her way into a Bajoran prayer circle, and oh my word, it is the way she goes about it is it's painful. It's absolutely painful, and it's the kind of thing that in this day and age you'd get sacked for, really, from your job if you did something similar. It's essentially insulting their religion and telling them everything they believe in is nonsense. My God. But yeah, there you go. And from there, she moves about trying to figure out exactly what's happened to him, eventually coming to a place where she gets absolutely blottoed in a bar. There are some interesting parts in the episode, but I think a lot of it is your standard, hey, remember this kind of thing. Remember how good this looked. Remember this uniform. Because Sam goes to the Benjamin Sisko Museum, or at least it forms in holographic style in front of her in a room. I'm not sure how that works, but she attends. She has a look. The uniform's there. There's something about the Defiant on the screen in DS9, and it's all, hey, remember all this kind of stuff. You're happy that we're exploring this, aren't you? And like I said at the start, it's thankfully they don't do anything that undermines, how good Benjamin Sisko was as a character, what he achieved and what he did in DS9. But it doesn't really develop anything further either. It's using the idea of Benjamin Sisko and everything he did and what he meant as a through point for Sam herself as a character. So it's a little bit disingenuous from my sort of perspective. I appreciate, using other characters as a springboard, using legacy characters as a springboard in the right way, and to a degree, I think this episode almost does it. It just feels, like I said, just disingenuous. There's not enough reverence given there. There's not enough emotional depth given there. We do have a little bit where Jake Sisko appears and explains bits and pieces about his father, which is nice, but again, there's no deeper element to it. There's nothing more substantial. This episode, again, similarly with the previous episode and everything the Klingons have been through, we fucking race through it. We absolutely race through something that really should have been, quite clearly, possibly could have been an entire series arc for this character, and yet we're doing it in one fucking episode. Why? I think that's the problem with modern Trek as it is. All of these arcs happen so goddamn quickly. There is no room for scope or wider development. And these characters, this is what we're given. We see them in one episode, and that is it at the moment. That's the way it feels. We are seeing these characters as they are. They're developing in this episode, and there we go. Then they facilitate everybody else's episodes there on in. There's moments here where Jaden's appearing again, and we get a little bit more development in terms of him and his sexual preferences. And then there's a bit with the captain or the chancellor, whatever the fuck she wants to be. Her title keeps changing that fits whatever scene she's in. So she's captain when she's being asked to go down to engineering, then she's chancellor when she's arguing back and forth with the War College commissioner or whoever the hell he is about making soup.
What?
I mean, there's so many divergences throughout this episode and throughout the previous episodes that just make it feel messy at all times. You could cut out 20 minutes of this episode and tighten everything that Sam is doing throughout and make it work so much more better. Get rid of all that visual fucking diarrhea at the start of the episode and make her feel more human as a character. Essentially, that is what she is going through herself in this episode. She's becoming and feeling more human, or at least understanding what it means to be more human, to transfer that knowledge back to her people. It's very similar to what we've seen before. Data went through the same thing, except he was a singular entity at one point, believing he was alone in the universe. But we still had Data acclimatizing and gathering data.
Clever girl.
And building up to be this irreverent being himself, to be this human. And again, it took years and movies. And here we're trying to do it all in one singular episode. It feels false. It feels rushed. It's like, I don't know, it is literally Star Trek for the TikTok generation. This is it, this is the episode, this is the character, we're fucking done.
Look, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
Alright, great. At what cost, though? At what cost? When there is those little small nuggets of something that's good and tangible in this series, it's completely undermined right the way through by this naff modern speak dialogue that literally just does not work for any of these characters. You want these characters to feel intelligent and reverent. Well, make them sound intelligent. Utilize the dialogue tendencies of people in Starfleet. It's not hard. People in Star Trek, the universe, use it. Trust the intelligence of your audience that you're looking to try and obtain. It's poor. It's really poor. And for whatever good the show has, it's just it's so undermined and so messy. It really is. Goodness me. And there's no greater moment that highlights how messy it is than when Sam is like I said, getting absolutely wasted in a bar and, making a fool of herself. And it's all part of what the episode tries to do in terms of saying it's the choices we make that make us who we are, and the metaphors and the meanings of the episode and the themes. But it's the dialogue and the writing is just miserable. Ineptitude just rifles through this entire scene, this entire sequence, and in and around that we have this dinner scene with the Doctor and the engineer lady who I can never remember a blooming name, and the War College commissioner and the Chancellor / captain, whoever she is on at this point, and the waffling. It's just all waffling.
This, you should vote me. I leave power. Good. If you vote me, I'm hot. What? This doesn't make any sense.
It's kind of what I do, really. It's just waffling back and forth. Sound and fury signifying nothing. To the point where we have this fish on a table that makes a farting noise. And that is the crux of Star Trek, Starfleet Academy.
Don't insult my intelligence.
For all the good intentions that underlie this show, of characters making decisions, and ultimately we're trying to discover what happened to Benjamin Sisko and his relevance to this time period 1,000 years later. What we have is a hologram getting absolutely fucking wasted and a fish making a farting noise on a table. That is Star Trek, and that is why I fundamentally cannot stand this show. I really can't, and it's painful. It's a painful watch. It really is. And I'm not sure what the end game is really up until this fades away into, into the ether of shows long dead, whenever that may be. I don't know. Like I said, it does nothing to undermine the legacy of Sisko. There is a nice moment at the end of the episode where Sam's talking to Jake Sisko, but fine. Just we'll leave it there. And I'm going to leave this review there because the longer I went on with this episode, the less I was interested and invested in anything that was being said by anyone. And it's this show. We're halfway through this series now, I think, and it's a chore. It's an absolute chore. I can't see at any point what anyone's getting out of this series. I really can't, and I don't know I don't know what it's bringing to the table in terms of Star Trek beyond the surface level. Remember this, see this, look at this alien species in the background, look at this light, look at this visual diarrhea. It's bright, it's flashy, we're cutting quickly, we're doing this, we're doing that. Yet we're dragging our heels and rushing and racing at the same time through interesting, important character development for the sake of, well, we've only got 10 episodes. The courage to create TV shows that lasted 20, 24 episodes, to really focus in on individual moments and flesh them out and make them work as long since passed. I don't think we'll ever get back there, and I think that's why Star Trek can never really work, in series form ever again. So yeah, on that note, I'm going to finish this review here. Oh man, genuinely, I think it's important to say, because I feel it here and in here. I really don't want to continue with this show. I really don't want to continue with it.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
It's just it's just laborious to watch. It really is. I've got to be honest. With that, I don't know anybody else in my friend circle who's actually watching this show. Some of them are, long-time Star Trek fans. One of them doesn't like the original series but loved The Next Generation and grew up with that side of it. The original series is too goofy for him, fair enough. If you come to it after the fact, then you're gonna think, oh, well, it's not the same as The Next Generation. Another friend has seen everything and loves it. And they're not on this. They're not watching this. It's a weird scenario to be in, to be a lone Star Trek fan watching something in the hopes that something else is there. Yeah, it's very strange. And this is turning into a bit of a philosophical discussion at the end. It's lost. It's for me, Star Trek is lost in this. It must be modern. It must be for this particular audience. It's not for anybody who's curious and comes in and goes, wow, I found something there. For me, that was always what Star Trek was about. It was individual moments that stand out to you in amongst all of it. That's why it worked so well as a 20-episode, series, or 20-episode plus series. It's those individual episodes that stand out to you. Everyone's got their own favourite episode. Very few people have the exact same favourite episode. And yet, there's nothing here in this show where I would say that would be a possibility. That you could come away from that and go, you know what, that's one of the greatest episodes of Star Trek I've ever seen. That's going to live with me. That's going to change who I am as a person. That's going to inform some of my decisions. It's going to live rent-free up here for the rest of my life, to the point where I'm quoting it every other day or making reference to it. Star Trek as it is now does not have that reverence, does not have that intelligence, that emotional depth, does not have, anything, that legacy. There's no legacy here. This will be forgotten. I believe the last 10, 15 years of Star Trek, maybe longer at that point, I don't even know how long it is since we had the J.J. Abrams reboot Star Trek. It will all be forgotten at some point. I don't know how that'll happen. It may happen when Star Trek is no more. But yeah, there's nothing else. There's nothing here for me. Wow. What a rambling philosophical end to this review. If you're still here, thank you very much for watching. Genuinely, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to have to sit on it for the rest of the week until episode 6 comes out to decide what I'm doing. I'll be very honest with you boys and girls. This show is actually it's really depressing me in a way. It really is, because it makes me think, you know, those times when I sat on the bottom step of my nan's staircase while she had it on the TV. Her TV was in a really weird position, and it'd be playing on BBC Two Star Trek, the original series, and then it'd be followed up by The Next Generation, and I'd be sat there on the bottom step watching it, not really like, you know, fixed watching it entirely, but I'd be there, I'd be taking it in, I'd be seeing things, you know, some of the scary things, some of the weird things, and that was my introduction to Star Trek. It was that that innocence. There's no innocence in this series. It's bloom, bluster, it's shouting, it's swearing, it's in your face, it's visual diarrhea. There's no class, there's no honesty, there's no integrity about it. That's what it is for me. This show, this episode doesn't undermine the legacy of Benjamin Sisko, but this show for me undermines the legacy of Star Trek and what a singular episode can do for you as a viewer. So yeah, there you go. I'm going to end this review there. Like I said, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I think in my heart of hearts, I cannot, in good conscience, carry on with this, because it's beyond the point of just watching, you know, to critically review it. It's got to a point where I'm very, very unhappy with this show. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry about this last 10 minutes or so of this rambling, whatever I've just said. Yeah. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Hopefully there's other movies and TV shows out there. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and my word, good luck if you're still with this show. Good luck to you. Bye-bye.